Hello students, today we will start with new topic that is about PROTISTA in biological classification. PROTISTA, the organisms that are studied under PROTISTA are unicellular eukaryotes. Unicellular eukaryotes. Their habitat. What is meant by habitat? Habitat means the place where organisms, means any type of organisms, are natively living. The native place where organisms live. That is given a term like habitat. So, the habitat of Protista is damp soils or damp areas. Here damp in the sense moist. Next, mode of nutrition. Mode of nutrition is autotrophic, heterotrophic, holozoic, and saprophytic. Autotrophic in the sense they prepare their own food material. Here we can say it can be euglena. Heterotrophic means they depend on other organisms for their food material. Here we can say paramecium. Holozoic means engulfing of food material by protruding the pseudopodia. Here we can take amoeba. Next, saprophytic means the organisms which degrade the dead organic matter into minerals and then attain food material from that. Means commonly we can say in simple word, that is nothing but which depend on dead organisms. Here examples we can take fungi or slime molds. But we will write about slime molds only because under Protista we are not reading about fungi. We are reading about one of the group that is related to fungi but studied under Protista as slime molds. Next, mode of reproduction is asexual type. Very rarely, sexual type of reproduction happens during unfavorable conditions. Mode of reproduction is by asexual method, but very rarely is sexual method of reproduction. Under asexual method of reproduction, we can take binary fission. We can take fragmentation. We can also include binary fission or multiple fission. Under sexual method of reproduction, we can learn about conjugation in paramecium. Now, their locomotion is by flagella, cilia, pseudopodia, etc. Next, few are non-motile, like slime molds. They do not have, but when the organism is growing in size, then automatically it gets spreaded from that area to the premises. Next, what are the groups that are studied under Protista? Are chrysophytes. Groups studied under Protista are chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, protozoans, and slime molds. We will read about each group separately now. First, we will see about chrysophytes. Under chrysophytes, the examples read are diatoms and desmids. These are also called as golden algae. Now we will see the shape of diatoms. Morphologically, they have two parts of body. First one, upper part is epitheca. This shape is like this. Second one, lower part is hypotheca. This shape is like this. Due to this body shape, it is also called as soap box like arrangement. Next, the total body of diatoms is made up of silica. The body is composed of siliceous cell wall. Means along with the carbohydrates that are present, silica is one of the major content in diatom's body. So that it is also called as siliceous cell wall. Next, both epitheca and hypotheca are combinedly called as frustule. Next, frustule, also termed as siliceous shell. Habitat is fresh water and marine water. Means chrysophytes live mostly in fresh water and rarely in marine water. Next, another point. Chrysophytes are microscopic. Most are phytoplanktons. Next, In marine water, they are free floating and are bottom dwellers. Means they settle at bottom of the marine water or oceans. Chrysophytes in marine water are free floating but frustule means their body is made of silica. So as silica is accumulated more, then it is prone to water pressures and more weight of body. So what happens? It slowly gets settled down, means it gets sinked into the bottom part of the water or oceans. So it moves or sinks to bottom of water and forms into diatomaceous earth. And later to petroleum. Later to petroleum. So when this was means moved to the seashores in diatomaceous earth form, or when more and more diatoms after their death, when all these frustules come to the seashore, then also we use the term diatomaceous earth. And this diatomaceous earth is also called as kieselguhr. Diatoms after death, when settled at seashores in large quantities, then also called as diatomaceous earth, or kieselguhr. Next, what is use of this diatomaceous earth? This is used as soundproof substance in rooms. Diatoms have no flagella for locomotion. We said that locomotion is by cilia, pseudopodia, etc. But here diatoms does not have any locomotory organs. They move according to the water currents. Diatoms exist in two different shapes. First one is pinnate form. Second one is centric form. Pinnate form is nothing but leaf-like shape. Like this. Centric form is nothing but like this. Means somewhat triangular in shape. We can neatly draw this as big one, 1, 2, 3. Centric shape. They are autotrophs. Chrysophytes, that is diatoms, have pigments like chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. Now, most of diatoms, not most, diatoms have reserve food, that is volutin granules. Next, chrysolaminarin and leucosin. Chrysolaminarin and leucosin as stored food material. Volutin granules has inorganic phosphates. Next. So, one example for diatoms is navicula. Navicula is one of the example. Diatoms excrete carbohydrates. They excrete carbohydrates more or large in quantity. Next, diatoms produce 1/4 of total oxygen of Earth. For suppose take Earth is having 100% of oxygen in its biosphere or in its atmosphere. Out of that, 25% is produced by diatoms. Silica of diatoms means the siliceous cell is used as abrasive. Means when a surface is very rough, then we can rub this type of diatomaceous earth containing sheets on it to make it into smooth layer. Abrasive agent. That is used for polishing. So, diatoms body has small or minute pores, so used as filtering agents or used for filtration. Diatomaceous earth or diatoms are given a special term called as chief producers on earth because they produce nearly 1/4 of total oxygen of earth. So we can write so called as chief producers on earth. Chief means main or important. Under chrysophytes, the reproduction is by production of oxospores or rejuvenatory spores. Reproduction includes oxospores and rejuvenatory spores. So this is about chrysophytes.